Hi, I'm Tim. I'm from House of Reptiles in Tigard, Oregon. This is the third video in our series on setting up a snake enclosure. In the first two videos we talked about the size of the enclosure, substrate options, and then in the second one we talked about heating and the various elements related to that. Tonight we're going to talk about humidity. Mostly what people do to try and increase the humidity in a snake's cage are things like misting. Once or twice or three times a day they'll use substrates like cypress mulch that hold moisture better, and or they'll even use a humidity hide where you create some sort of hide that you can put moss in, and then you keep the moss moist, which is a little bit easier to manage than trying to keep an entire cage humid, especially something that's going to have a screen top where the humidity is going to constantly be released into the air in the room. I have to tell you that we typically don't worry a whole lot about it. There are exceptions to that rule. Green tree pythons, emerald tree boas are snakes that we keep in enclosures generally that don't have screen tops. We mist them. We do things to try to keep them more humid because they're more tropical snakes that seem to genuinely need more humidity. But for the rest of the snakes that we have that are primarily terrestrial or fossorial, they burrow, we just don't worry about humidity all that much. It's hard to be spot on with humidity anyways, so you're typically going to be a little bit too low or a little bit too high. If you have too high humidity for a prolonged period of time, you can end up with bacteria, mold, fungus in the cage, and that's not going to do your snake any good. So we generally have decided that if we're going to be on one side or the other, we would prefer to be, in most of the cases, with too little humidity, because the very worst that's going to happen in a situation where there's too little humidity in the context of appropriate heat is a stuck shed. And what we do for a stuck shed is we soak the snake in some lukewarm or room temperature water for an hour or two, and the shed comes right off. In fact, we're going to be doing a video that'll show you how easy that is, and just not something to worry about. So when it comes to humidity, we get asked a lot of questions about it. We have people come in wringing their hands, really worried about being unable to keep humidity levels high, and we just encourage them in most cases just not to worry about it. If they need to soak the snake come shed time to get the shed off, that's fine. Otherwise the snake's not going to be harmed by humidity that's not quite high enough. That's it, I think, for this topic. We'll see you next time.